Good morning, everybody. It's Brendan from Vehicle Ford of Satterton. Today I'm going to be going over Sync 3. I'm going to do a walkthrough on Sync 3 today. I was going to do this a little bit later, but thought about it and thought it would be a better idea to do it sooner. That way, anyone that has questions or anything can get me right away with the Sync 3 and how to use it and everything. So, the particular car I'm in today is an Explorer Sport with the 400A package. Real nice car, real nice sleek look to them. I'm going to start out here with the FM radio. As you can see, you have your station. Gives you the RDS, which is the radio data system. Most radio stations have that. They give you the song title and the artist. And then here you can see here's the station that we're on. Don't know if this one has. I don't think this one has HD radio. Yep, this one has HD radio. So some of the more higher trims in our cars, like Larry F-150, here the Explorer Sport, all the titanium fusions, escapes, are all going to have HD radio. Basically what that means is a lot of your bigger city stations, like for here, us is Philadelphia, so almost all the Philadelphia stations have what's called HD radio. Basically what it is, it's a clearer signal. It's kind of like HD TV. It's a little bit, it's clear, it's more crisp, better sound than your traditional analog radio. Also, too, a lot of them have what's called sub-channels. Basically, what they are is they're just either commercial-free, they're sports channels, or whatever different things that these stations have through HD radio. You can have that. Now, when the HD radio goes out, it just goes back to your normal analog radio, but the HD stations, like here, channel 2 and 3, won't work. Has to be the HD signal has to be able to be received, and typically most towers, once you reach about 20 to 25 miles outside of from the tower, the HD radio will go in and out. Especially up here where I am, it's a lot of hilly terrain, a lot of dips and valleys. So, like my drive home, it'll go out a couple times, but for the most part, you can get most of the HD stations here in my area, and as well as with any big city stations that have HD radio. You can see here you have your preset button. Okay, that's changes your preset. You have 3 banks of 6, so you can have up to 18 different presets here for the Sync 3. Some of them actually have buttons down here that you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do the presets. This particular one does. This Explorer does not. So if you want to go say to 98.1, you just tap on preset 3. You can also use your steering wheel control, and this works for all of them. You use your steering wheel control to scroll through the presets. And if you want to switch to the next bank, you just press on presets here, and it goes to the next bank. You also call direct tune. So if I want to go to 92.5, I punch that in and press enter. It takes me right to 92.5. You have a seek button on most of them, and you also some of them you have a tune button, or these are knobs. Like the F-150 is going to be a knob that you use to tune. But here, if you just want to tune directly, you just take that. If you want to seek to the next available station, you just do that. I'm going to go into AM radio next. AM still does exist. If one kind of cool feature, if the car has HD radio like this one, if you go to a station, some of the AM stations are actually HD, and they'll actually sound a lot better than the traditional AM, like kind of staticky, kind of back and forth, noise and everything that you traditionally receive with AM radio. As before, Sirius on all cars that have Sync 3, except the STX F-150, are going to have Sirius with it, and that's free for 6 months. It's commercial-free music, sports, talk, comedy, all different kinds of weather, traffic, all different kinds of channels. Presets work the same way as they do on the FM. You have 3 banks of 6, so that works the same exact way. This can be listened anywhere in the country as long as you have a signal. If you get into kind of a wooded area, or maybe even in the mountains, sometimes the signal will go out, but for the most part, you're going to be able to listen anywhere in the country, or anywhere that you take a drive. You have a channel guide, so when you want to get used to the channels at first, if you're something brand new to it, it actually sorts it by genre. All different kinds of genre. Then there's your sports and everything, Howard Stern, entertainment. It's all different kinds of genres. So that helps you learn the channels a little bit easier. Direct tune, just like FM, directly takes you to a station. These have what's called a DVR thing, whereas I can actually replay and go back to where I started. So if you want to listen to the song again or repeat something, you can do that. Alert, basically what alert is, it'll alert me. You can set alerts for the song and or the artist. That way you can add the alert so that when there's a song, when that song or that artist comes on any of the channels on Sirius, it'll allow you to, it'll let you know. We'll only do it when you're on Sirius. It won't do it when you're on FM radio or maybe streaming your phone or things like that. So that covers the audio section. Let's go to the climate. Like I said, some cars have this climate button. This particular one does. Where you actually can control the climate from the screen. You also can do it from the buttons down here. But you see you have your driver's temperature, passenger. You can have your dual climate setting. You have your fan. With this particular, with the Explorer, like the Explorer and the Expedition, you can actually control the rear from the touchscreen. You can actually lock it up, or you can turn it off completely. Let your back passengers have free roam of that if you so choose. You have your AC options, and you have your different vents, and you have your auto setting. I will recommend doing the auto setting because it's whatever temperature it's going to set it to. It's just going to blast you. It's just going to put the fan all the way up. So I don't recommend the auto setting. And then cars that have the heated steering wheel have the button right up here in the top left corner. That's your heated steering wheel. And as you can see, you have buttons down here to control one thing. Cars that have like heated cooled seats, like this particular one just has the heated. You can see you have the heated button here. There's no button up here on the top to do that. You have it's the only button on the climate that you have to independently control via button. And you have your phone screen. It's very simple to add a phone. You just tap on your add phone, open up the Bluetooth settings on your cell phone, and Ford Explorer or whatever vehicle you're on will appear there after a few seconds. So that's how you can pair that up. Got your navigation. As you can see, here's your navigation. You have some different options. You can view the screen differently. Like you can do a 3D, you can do a north only, or you can just do an overhead. You can also do a zoom into or a zoom out. And you can make it automatic, which I recommend leaving it automatic. To get to a destination, it's really simple. It's two buttons to get to a destination. If any of you are familiar with My Ford Touch, it would take you literally 5 minutes to put in an address because you had to enter the city, then the address, then the town. It's very simple to do this. It's 2 buttons. You press destination, search. And there's your search screen. So I'm going to do the address here for the store because it already will start to preload. Once I hit the B for Bethlehem Pike, there it is right there. So once you already find your address, you just tap on start. You can also save it if you want to, and the navigation will start up from there. You can program a home address, so that way when you're out and about, if you're on a trip and you just want to take yourself home, you just tap on that and it'll start navigating you from there. Same with work and same with favorites. You can also view your previous destinations too once you have some set. You can view, if you're on a road trip, you can view different food places. You can go by distance. You can also go by distance and it's by a certain city. So if you're heading down to, say, you're heading to Washington D.C. for the day and you want to get lunch when you get down there, you can actually search for food right from your Sync 3 system, which is pretty cool. You also can do fuel pricing too. You can search for fuel. Like this is set to distance. You can also do fuel prices. So say I wanted to go to that Wawa right there. I would just tap on the little play button. Takes you to the screen. And hit start. And you can actually view the prices too right here. You can view the regular, medium, super, and diesel. So you can do that too, which is really cool. And there's just different other points of interest like hotel and ATM. There's also others like travel or automotive if you need a rental car or you want to go to a mall in one of your areas. You can do all this with the navigation. It's kind of really cool how they developed into this to make it really road trip friendly for someone that wants to be on road trips a lot. This is really convenient to do that. Change different settings. The only really recommend settings that I recommend changing are like I'll show you here. I press the navigation settings and I do route preferences. If you want to avoid toll roads, like I know some states, if you go on a road trip, that some states have what they call cashless tolls, and you have to have that state's their type of road pass. Like here, it's Easy Pass. Some states you accept Easy Pass, but if you don't even have Easy Pass, so you can actually avoid toll roads. You can avoid highways if you want to take a nice back road drive. You can avoid freeways, ferries, and car trains. You can avoid that too. You can, if you're going to use carpool lanes, you can check that for you. automatically find parking, always use the fastest route is checked, and your preferred route you can do shorter if you want to, or most eco-friendly route. Under like map preferences and everything, you have your 3D city model. So once you get to the big cities, you'll have like 3D model. Basically what breadcrumbs are, this is what breadcrumbs are. They are little like points of interest type of things. They're not points of interest, but they're like that show up on the map as you're driving along, and can kind of clutter the map up with different icons. Just to give you an example, I'll turn that on. And you can see them all here, those little dots everywhere. Like those dot right there. Those are what they call breadcrumbs. Really no use for them. I don't recommend them. I don't really recommend turning them on. So we'll turn them back off. And then points of interest icons, again, it's going to be like your restaurants and whatnot, your gas stations, things like that. Reason they're turned off from the factory is because it kind of clutters up the map. And you have so many different icons on the map, you can't actually like see your route, because you're already looking at a bunch of different icons. It gets a little bit distracting. And you got your navigation preferences. You can change if you want to do voice and tones, voice only, or tones only. This particular one's set to voice only. I'll change that to voice and tones. That way, when a turn's coming up, it actually goes ding ding to let you know a turn is coming up. So that's pretty much navigation. One thing that ties with the navigation, cars that have these dual screens, you're going to have those in the Edge, the Tech Pack SE Fusions, and the Fusion Titaniums, Platinums, XLT Explorer, Sport Explorer Limited, Platinum. You're going to have these two dual screens. Basically, you have the left screen is your trip, and you have your speedometer, obviously, and then you have a little screen to the right here. It's basically a mini version of the Sync 3 screen. You can actually use navigation. Actually shows my location, but when you program in a destination, you can actually look right here on that screen and see your next turn, how far it is, how much time's left on the trip, what road you're on, how much miles are left to the trip, how many miles to the next turn, what direction that turn is going to be. So that's a really cool feature. Instead of having to look down here on your screen necessarily, you can actually see it right here on the screen. The ones that have the dual screen, like the Lariat F-150, actually you can pull that up in the center screen. So there's a lot of cool features there with the vehicles that have the navigation. I think that pretty much covers the navigation. It's a real simple system. I can go further if there's any requests, if there's something specific that you want to do. But like if you want to program in a home address, you just tap on it, add it. It would add a favorite for home. Same for work, same for favorites. Let's go ahead and go to the app screen. What this is once you program up a phone, it can pull over certain apps like Spotify. They're starting to work on getting iHeartRadio over. Things like that. Pandora. Those apps pull over. If you have an Apple phone, it's not going to pull any apps over. Android, it will. If you want to do the Apple, you have to do the Apple CarPlay Android Auto, which I'll save in their video for another day to go over the Android Auto with everyone. So we'll pull your apps over. You have what's called Sirius Travel Link. This is free for 5 years. You can view fuel prices like you can the navigation, traffic list, movie listings, weather. Here's your subscription info. As you can see, everything's subscribed. Basically, I said this is free for 5 years. But if you have the navigation, there really is no need to continue that service. And then you have last button here on the screen is your different settings. Excuse me, for the Sync 3 system, you have your sound. If you want to change your clock, you can do that here, or you can actually just press on the time, and then you can actually change the clock right here if you want. I don't recommend resetting it to GPS time because GPS time doesn't account for daylight savings. You can do a 24-hour clock format too if you so choose. You can do automatic zone time updates, so if you're going through to a different state, that changes time, it'll automatically change that for you. And you have your Bluetooth settings, your phone settings, your Sirius settings. You can actually do a parental lockout for some of the adult channels. This is where you can change the alerts if you have any alerts set like I went over in the Sirius settings. And then your ESN, when you go to subscribe, if you go to continue after your trial runs out, after 6 months, if you want to continue listening, they might ask you for that number. Right there, or they'll ask you for the channel 0. It's called a SID number. They might ask you for that or both. Basically what it is identifies the Sirius module tied together with the vehicle. There's your navigation settings too, just like when I was in navigation. Your navigation settings, you can change those there. Mobile apps, you can enable the mobile apps. I won't let me do it because I don't have a phone paired. When you have a phone paired, it'll allow you to enable the mobile apps. You have your general settings. You have your English, miles, Fahrenheit. You can do the touchscreen beep. Automatic system updates. We'll turn that on. Basically what that is going to do is if you have Wi-Fi at your house, and if it's able to reach the car, whether it's in your garage or parked in your driveway, it can actually check for updates through Wi-Fi, so that when you're not even in the vehicle, it can actually check for updates, and then when you go ahead and start up your vehicle the next time, it'll let you know you have an update. And if the signal starts to get weak or the battery starts to get weak, it'll pause the update and resume when all the conditions are back up and running again. You can view your actual syncs, what software version you have. This particular one's 2.2. I believe that's the most up-to-date one. And software licenses. If you're having an issue with the Sync 3, things are not working right, or it maybe is frozen or it's slow, or you're trading in the vehicle and you want to erase all your contacts and all your different personal stuff, you can do what's called a master reset. Now basically it's kind of like resetting your phone before you get a new one, or you're trading it in. You just do a basic reset, basically set it back to the factory condition when it was brand new, and deletes everything out of there, unpairs all the phones and things like that. 911 assist will, when you pair up your phone, that automatically prompt you to turn that on. Basically what that allows you to do is, it's a free service. It allows you to still make a phone call even if you're not near the vehicle. And you have your Wi-Fi, which is just the same exact thing as what I was going over with the Wi-Fi updates. You just tap on View Available Networks, and then it'll search your access point. If you have a code, you can enter that in there, and then it can actually pair up with Wi-Fi. It's not a Wi-Fi hotspot. A lot of people get that confused. This is not a Wi-Fi hotspot. The car does not have Wi-Fi in it, so you're not able to connect your phone up to Wi-Fi or anything like that. It's to do purely for the system updates, but Wi-Fi hotspots are coming to Ford. You'll start seeing it in 18. Here's your Android Auto. You can enable that. It's an app you have to get on your phone. Like I said, I'll go over that another time. You have your vehicle button. Not all ones have this, but most of them have the door pad key code setting. You can change the door pad key code. It's a 5-digit code that comes from Ford. You can actually change it to maybe something a little bit easier for you to remember. What you do is you enter that right here. You enter in the factory code first, so you do need that. And then you enter in your own personal code. The factory code will always work. You just hit add. Basically punch it in. And then when it'll ask you to add or erase, you just hit add. So you're adding another code. You want to keep the factory code set, so that way when you trade in the vehicle and you trade in the card, or they go and pull the code, it's going to be the same code. Camera settings. The park aids are already set to on this Explorer. There's actually a button right here to actually turn that off if you so choose. Rear camera delay. I like to turn that on. Basically what that is, I'll keep it off and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I put the vehicle in reverse. Okay, see how the camera comes up? If I go and put it in drive, see how the camera goes away right away? If I turn the rear camera delay on, I'll put it back in reverse, and I go to put it in drive, see how it stays on? Basically what that is, kind of a safety feature. I find it a safety feature. Basically when you're backing in, maybe out of parking lot or maybe moving around, it's nice to see that, because if you're driving forward but you still want to see if someone darts in behind you, or maybe a kid runs or something behind you, you're still able to see it on the screen, versus if I didn't have that rear camera delay on, it will the camera will automatically go away. I won't be able to see what's going on behind me. So then once you hit 5 miles an hour, this automatically goes out and goes back to your screen. Regardless, if you put the vehicle in park, the camera goes away as well. So I'll demonstrate that again so you can see what I'm talking about. When the rear camera delay is off, put it in reverse. There's your cameras. Now say I want to move forward a little bit, put it in drive, see how the camera goes away, versus having it on, reverse, and then back into drive. You can see their camera stays lit, and you can see with the camera, you can, when you're in reverse, you can actually zoom in on it, so you can actually see. And the vehicles with hitches have this what's called dash line. That's right in line with the hitch. And you can see there's a sensor perimeter grid right there to the right. Okay, so we'll leave that on for the person whoever buys this vehicle, so they have that feature. I find it a nice safety feature. I think that pretty much covers the Sync 3. There is a lot entailed. Some vehicles are going to have less than others, but for the most part, every Sync 3 is going to have the same overall functionality. Like some of them won't have climate, some of them won't obviously have navigation either. But as far as the functions go and everything, they work the same way as the next vehicle. When you start your vehicle up, this is the screen that'll be listed. You'll see if the phone's paired, it'll be right there in the corner. Then you have your audio, and then you have your navigation. You can tap any one of these three to go directly to it. And as you can see also with the Sync 3, if any of you had the My Ford Touch, you probably loved how it looked, but you hated how it functioned. It was a little slow. Sometimes you had to go really push hard on the screen, basically almost push the screen in because how hard you had to push to get it to go. Where this is, I can just barely put my finger up to the button. I'm barely touching it, and you can see it's very fast. It's a more simplistic system, has a better processor than the My Ford Touch. It's actually built by BlackBerry, whereas My Ford Touch was built by Microsoft. So Sync 3 is going to still continue in all 18 models. All the 2018 vehicles are going to have Sync 3. There's no word as to like a Sync 4 or anything like that. They're kind of really using Sync 3 and running with it and adding a lot to it. So maybe in a couple of years you'll see a different sync system pop up, but for now, for all 2018s that are coming, they're all gonna have the touchscreen. They're all gonna be Sync 3, just like you see right here. If you have any questions for me, give me some comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. I'm gonna have this added as well. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're ever in the need for a market for a vehicle, please stop on by. Be happy to help you out with all your needs. Also, like my page on Facebook. It's at Brendan, BRENDON 17 F150. That's my Facebook page. I post different specials on new vehicles. I post some sweet used vehicles that we get traded in, some real nice Mustangs, some F150s, things like that. So please like my page on Facebook, and thank you so much for watching my video.